recovery, and Jenny Tinman. On the front row of the grid, 77, Milwaukee Yamahas. James Ellison, back from MotoGP duty, the runner-up in 2009. Can he get off the start? Oh, shaky. Byrne always does get off the start. I could have almost bet my house on him winning the race to the first turn. And it's Byrne who, once again, leads the way. Ellison second.
Yeah, Ellison did make the start. Not perfect, but good enough.
And third place for Alex Lowe's. Fourth place is teammate Yuichi Kianari has catapulted himself through from the second row of the grid. Yep. Kianari there. Bridewell has also made another astonishing start. Keith Farmer 6th, Carl Harris 7th, Josh Brooks back in 8th place with work to do as Keith Farmer finds himself almost on the grass. Now round the that long, you are on the side of the tyre for such a huge length of time here. You've got McLaren's, Clearways, and then the final Clark curve there that swoops you up onto the Brabham Straight. Shaky Byrne leads it, 1 lap in out of 30. Here comes Alex Lowe, thinks about making a move. Kianari is looking very keen.
He is, it's early days, but I like this.
Yuichi Kianari, back from Asian duty. Oh, but he loses out. Was that Bridewell?
That was Bridewell just leaving him aside there. And touche.
Of course, one thing you've got to suddenly thought is Yuichi's been away for a year. Thomas has come on a bit in the year since Yuichi last race against him.
Correct, but not only that, Kianari's been riding super sports bikes. He's been on 600s for the last year in Asia, so there is a big difference.
And the Milwaukee Yamahas have absolutely driven its way to the front through Clearway. Shaky Byrne now under a little pressure from Alex Lowe's, loses the lead then. So new race leader and the 2009 runner-up in BSB for our Airways Yamaha. There is James Ellison.
Yeah, and you know what I was impressed there with Kianari, that he got levered aside at Druids straight back. And you know, we haven't seen that. I mean, we haven't seen it for a whole year, but even the year before that, he struggled to do anything like that.
So that bodes well then. John Kirkham down in 10th place ahead of Peter Hickman. Birthday boy tomorrow, Peter Hickman. Happy birthday to you. Also, Rob Guyver, actually, is 28. He's alarmed at turning 28 tomorrow. Happy birthday, Rob.
I wish I was as old as 28.
I said to him, mate, you're still a child. Oh, look at Josh Brooks. Oh, no, I beg your pardon, it's number 22, Alex Lowe's. Brooks is 5th, Bridewell 6th, Farmer 7th, ahead of Walker, Kirkham, Harris rounding out the top 10.
Yeah, Byrne sticks the fastest lap of the race in. I know it's early days, but he's down to 46 and quite low, 46-1 already.
Remember that in 2010, James Ellison won here at Brands Indy in the opening round before having that awful leg break at Thruxton on the Hydrex Honda.
Yes.
And you know, he eventually finished 7th in the series, but he missed a lot of races.
Yeah. He also, I mean, you forget a lot of things about James Ellison. Been around a long time, you know, won British Championship races on bikes you wouldn't think he would be doing, and finished 2nd in the championship in the year when, I think 2009, I think when Camia cleared off for the championship.
Yeah. Was the European Superstock champion in 2000 and again in 2001. And also, of course, World Endurance Champion with his brother Dino.
Who's here this weekend? I've seen him. Yeah.
Good. Now dropping down the hill. Already these two, Alex Lowe, just not quite sitting on the same pace. Just a little bit of a gap has opened up ahead of the number 22 machine with Kianari, number 23, right behind him.
Yeah, you just wonder whether... I don't think that many people out there would have made many different, you know, changes to the bike. I know that Josh Brooks was looking at running the same tyres, but trying to make a few tweaks to the suspension, just to try and give that tyre an easier time towards the end. He felt that if he'd have had more tyre left at the end, he would have helped.
Well, at the moment, the Taiko Suzuki is right behind those two Samsung Hondas. But at the front, it's the Yamaha versus Kawasaki just moving away a little at the front. Yep. So we've got all the major Japanese representatives running there in the top half dozen. In fact, the first, I'm looking downfield, John Kirkham in 9th place, the first of the European manufacturers on the build-based BMW. At the front, number 77, the distinctive figure of James Ellison leads the way. There's number 9, Chris Walker. Ellison leads the way. Byrne in second place. Alex Lowe's versus Yuichi Kiyanari for third. That's Keith Farmer running behind Chris Walker now. So Walker has really moved through sharply into seventh.
That's John Kirkham, number 10 on the red build-based BMW. That was just right up behind in eighth, right behind. Ninth behind Farmer, and they had a little bit of a tussle in race one, and Kirkham said he'd really like not to get held up as much, and he'd be really keen to get past Farmer, I think. He said he's a difficult rider to pass.
And look at right behind Kirkham, Darth Vader, alias Carl Harris, number 68 there, is hanging threateningly on the PR Racing Kawasaki, after having expired in the first race. And Peter Hickman, tomorrow's birthday boy, is running strongly as well on the purple and white GB Moto Hondas.
This is one of these riders who has natural talent in bucket loads. You know, he can be a year out of the sport. He can. I mean, he's back in shape now. He's training hard, but it doesn't matter. He knows how to ride a bike, and he's always going to be quick.
And something went on in the background. Something went on in the background, but we're not sure what. And has the red flag gone out?
There's some hands going up. Wouldn't surprise. Bridewell's. We're hearing that Bridewell's bikes. So either smoking or blown up. There he is.
So Tommy Bridewell in trouble with the Batham's Honda. He's pulled over on the number 46 black and white bike.
Oh, I'll tell you what, he hasn't seen anything coming out. Let's have a look. Back of the shot. That's it. It's that, I think, is water. That's coolant, because it just didn't have that intensity and blueness that you get with engine smoke. And he's not doing the best of things, I don't think, touring around with something pouring out of his bike. He obviously doesn't know, because he wouldn't do that. There was a big glug of water came out as he stopped coming out of Druids, and yeah.
Well spotted, Jed. I could always be convinced you're a really great mechanic. That's
yeah, I mean,
excellent diagnosis.
Yeah, he didn't see the stuff coming out the bottom when he had a look, but there was something coming out, and it's not the best thing to be touring around.
Ellison on the Milwaukee Yamaha. It's the red and white brigade at the front, because the Rapid Solicitors Kawasaki, a first race winner, Shane Byrne, is right there behind him.
Now this is the point on the track that Bridewell was, if he was spreading something, this is it. This is where it was. There's the Batham's Honda. Bridewell's off it. It's definitely, I think it's popped probably a coolant pipe off.
Disappointment then, visible disappointment from Sir Thomas George Bridewell II there as he slumps down in his garage. Meanwhile, is Shaky Byrne just biding his time at the front? I'm not quite sure. He's just shadowing James Ellison. Meantime, Alex Lowe's is beginning to have a go now. He's decided to pick up the pace mid-race.
And I think the way we'll find out if Shaky Byrne, that man there, number 67 on the Kawasaki, is biding his time, is when he gets to the lap board to tell him that Alex Lowe's is catching him. Then we'll see if he can go, because he will have a go at it then.
James Ellison, of course, he came back into this championship with some brilliant performances right towards the end of 2011. Finished third in that cataclysmic title decider between Tommy Hill and John Hopkins. And then went, of course, to MotoGP for Paul Bird last year. Kirkham trying to squeeze his... Oh, it's Kirkham who's lost out to Chris Walker. Yeah, the Stalker sixth. A little Perish has got his head down, and he's really going for it. Do you know, you can tell that Chris is feeling more confident, because he's back onto his bright red, pinkish, kind of magenta and yellow helmet. Yeah. He said he kind of went undercover for a while with that slate grey one when he wasn't feeling so confident, and now he's back multicoloured look with that famous design.
That's Walker Kawasaki, and that is Kirkham on the BMW, and then just behind them there's kind of multicoloured figure of Harris, who's smashed all his decent sort of matching leathers up, and he's wearing all sorts of different coloured boots and leathers.
They were watching as they go.
Jacobson,
there is PJ Jacobson.
Hickman, number 60 on the GB Motors bike, and then Harms. No,
Robin Harms is in there right behind Hickman. So Harms in 12th place. Harms having a really strong, and that's from a top 5 finisher in World Supersport, of course.
That's Farmer the catching, and that's this isn't as good a showing for Farmer in the second race. I know he was really keen on being smoother and not using as much of the tyre as he did early on in race 1, but you know, if the downside of that is you don't ever get near the front, well, I'd have gone with the way he went in race 1, to be quite honest.
I think Dan Linfoot might disagree with you there. Meanwhile, dropping down over Paddock Hill Bend, it's the Milwaukee Yamaha of James Ellison, 2009 British Superbike runner-up, with the reigning champion Shaky Byrne shadowing him every inch of the way. And on the last lap, fastest lap of his race for Alex Lowe's, 45.921. Just edging in a little bit and drawing Yuichi Kiyanari along with him.
Yeah, good run from Kiyo. You can't ignore the fact that this is a really good run for him now.
43, he's still one race win more than Shaky Byrne, of course, 43 to 42 at this present time after Shaky's race win before.
Possibly not in 20 minutes.
That is quite conceivable, yes, I'd grant you that.
And this is an impressive run from Ellison, I've got to say. This is just what he needed, you know. It's all right being fastest and starting off pole, but you've got to go and race, and this is a nice steady run for Ellison at the minute. I haven't seen him make a mistake, and this is good.
It is a very impressive performance. The man who's got a World Super Sport, World Endurance, British Superbike, MotoGP CRT class, finishing 4th CRT, as they've never quite understood what it means, but anyway, CRT class 4th overall, 16th in the MotoGP World Championship last year for the Paul Byrne team. A heavy mantle that's now been assumed by Michael Laverty.
Yeah.
And as they drop down and into the dip up Halewood Hill, Ellison by 0.99 of a second held the lead across the line. Lowe's 0.8 of a second further back in 3rd place, still chipping away.
Yep.
Chipping away. We're just on the half-distance lap. I spoke to Alex's mum just a few moments ago before coming back into the commentary booth, and she said she was very pleased with the more aggressive of her twin sons, actually saying, well, I decided I needed to let him have it. About 4 laps from the end, I realised I wasn't going to catch him. This is Walker, number 9.
Walker, Kirkham and Harry still glued together. I'll tell you what, Chris Walker does look to be pushing on. He's really hard on the front. He looks to be riding with, he looks to be enjoying it, let's put it that way.
Yes, he's riding with customary Chris Walker verve, isn't he?
That's the word I was looking for.
Kirkham really enjoying Kirkham. Look at the speed of the BMW. He knifed under Chris Walker as they came out of the Clark curve. He made the move almost straight away. But Walker, of course, a much smaller, lighter man on the bike.
Yep. Everybody's much smaller than John Kirkham. The man's about 6'7".
Whisperland's having a good ride. Look, after that huge crash he got wrapped up in earlier, he's running 9th and catching these guys. No, he's not.
No. I meant that. Sorry.
we got that wrong in tune, didn't we?
No, I meant you do that, didn't I? I sounded dead excited.
10th place onwards is Farmer, Hickman, Harms, PJ Jacobson, Josh Waters back in the points, and Howie Mainwaring. Michael Howarth was thrilled to get a point in the first. At the moment, Howie's running at a possible point again, just ahead of his teammate Luke Quigley, with Jakob Smertz slightly disappointing 17th ahead of Martin Jessup, Matteo Bayocco and Danny Buchan. Buchan's not making the sort of impression I expected the big lad to make on the Kawasaki.
Me neither.
The bright red build-based BMW of John Kirkham over the equally bright green helmet, leading the way there from Chris Walker and Carl Harris. They're running in a battle for 6th place. Ahead of them, 16 laps complete for James Ellison. 17 laps now as he flashes across the line. Would you believe exactly 0.099 seconds ahead of Shaky Byrne once again, and Alex Lowe's, in a lovely little quintessential bit of nonsense, is 1.099 seconds behind. So Alex Lowe's precisely 1 second behind Shaky Byrne, and not quite able to make the same inroads into the lead on that. He was a fraction slower than the leaders on that.
Yeah.
Yuichi Kiyanari, the most winningest, the most winning man in British Superbikes. That's why I said it, James. He is lying, loitering there in 4th place, but doesn't seem able to close the gap on bike number 23. So Kiyanari, Asian Supersport champion last year, making his return. That's a beautiful line of Shaky Byrne. I've just realised that's probably where Keith Farmer learned it from. That cutting it tight almost across the curb coming out of Paddock Hill Bend, because he's followed Shaky enough around here. And Kiyanari's slipping off the pace now. It's Kiyanari who was the first ever pupil of the Suzuka Racing School when it opened in 1991. Comes from Saitama, north of Tokyo. His dad, Mitsuyoshi, his brother, Kenichi. At the front, we've got James Ellison, brother Dean from Kendal in Cumbria, leading Sittingbourne, Kent's very own Shaky Byrne. Across the line this time, 0.109 of a difference. And once again, Alex's mid-race surge has just faded a bit. He's not quite on the same pace as the two leaders. And it looks as if it's going to be down to these two men with a fair old wealth of experience between them.
I've got to say that even though I've not seen James Ellison on the Milwaukee Yamaha have any kind of slide or issue or look back or look flustered, you still, if you had to put 10 bob on it, would be putting it on shaky, wouldn't you, somehow?
32-year-old James Ellison leading the way for Milwaukee Yamaha. Ellison was he was a heck of an athlete when he was a lad, throwing the javelin, running for the county, and trampolining. Then he got a, it's always the fatal thing, isn't it? He got a Pee-wee 50 when he was 3 years old. That's right, and they do. And his mum, you know, not his dear late dad, but his mum started taking him up on the fells after school, and that was it. And then they started BMXing, and the two-wheel probably bitten.
Yeah, my mum did that, but only hoping I won't come back. Hoping I get lost up there.
I bet she's very relieved you didn't now, James.
Yeah, I guess.
Actually, Ellison was spotted originally by Spike Edwards when he was riding an 80cc Honda, James that was, at Three Sisters near that lovely little track outside Wigan.
It is, yeah.
Mike Edwards spotted him and saw the potential in the lad. Meanwhile, glancing back downfield, there's a fair little feud going on here involving number 43, Howie Mainwaring, his teammate Luke Quickly, 51. And then right behind him, we've got Jessup and Biocco. They're all involved in this little scuffle going on. The Panigale of Matteo Biocco is there.
Beautiful looking bike is that.
Jakob Smertz, number 96. Who's that very late entry into this series, of course, having got rescued by Padgett's Honda. Clive Padgett realising that although they didn't really have a budget, they couldn't let the experienced star of the Czech Republic, 30 years old today, incidentally, creep off back and out of British Superbikes. I reckon, for me, although he was very impressive in World Superbikes, Kuba's season in 2006, when he was 12th overall, just behind Marco Simoncelli and Anthony West in the 250 GPs, with a string of top 10 results, has got to be one of his best seasons.
I would agree with you. Yeah, he's no mug though, and that battle we're seeing is for 15th at last memory from Wayne Mainwaring, sorry, in Quigley, desperate for more points for Michael Hour's team, the new team.
Yeah, a tribute to the way they're riding, actually, that they're running there with Smertz, Jessup and Biocco.
Yeah.
That's Howie Mainwaring, Luke Quigley, of course, refugees from the Superstock class. They've always been good front runners in the Superstock class. Dropping down the hill round. Oh, did Shaky have a moment then? Or was that my imagination?
Yeah, I've seen him have a couple of little slides now. Nothing kind of too big that's holding him up, but certainly it means that, you know, he's going to have to think about what he's doing here.
James is on rails here.
That's what I said. He just doesn't look like he's made any mistakes. He's not missed an apex. Really nice wide line there. Cuts it back to the late apex. Gives him a good run down into Grey Mill Bend. Yeah, he's riding nicely, James Ellison.
So Ellison still leading the way. Alex Lowe's, well, he keeps on snapping away. I mean, he's back down to their pace. Exactly 46 flat, all three of them on the last lap. But Ellison still hangs on at the front as they complete their 24th lap of 36 laps left. Oh, Aaron Zanotti's looming up in front of them. So this could get interesting now, because the lad from Loughborough on the Aaron Zanotti Racing Suzuki on the white machine there will shortly be lapped. And as you pointed out before, James, it's crucial where you come upon them. It is this little short circuit.
A little bit of luck is involved.
Dropping down the hill, it's still Ellison leading from Byrne on the two red and white machines. The experienced Aaron Zanotti just looks over his shoulder, gets well out of the way of the front three and lets them get on with their racing. Zanotti running in 20th place, incidentally.
Yeah, and you get a blue flag from the marshals. It's at their discretion, but if you see a blue flag and you kind of know up front, well, the chances are you're gonna have some race leaders behind you.
Incidentally, we've lost Danny Buchan and Lee Costello from this race, as well as Tommy Bridewell, because Zanotti at the moment is the first man that they've lapped, running in 20th place.
Yep.
When that was shaky. To a bit of a climax. Something's going to happen. Something's got to happen very soon.
The pressure it will definitely be building on James Ellison. He's not going to get that I've seen, but he knows Shane Byrne's there.
Keith Farmer's been seen to by Peter Hickman and Robin Harms. Good ride for Harms through to 11th. Farmer back to 12th, ahead of his fellow rookie PJ Jacobson, and in fact 4 rookies together, because Josh Waters and Howie Mainwaring are next up to round out the point scorers, down to 15th place. So here we are, on to the 27th of 30 laps. James, it looks like it's fairly brutal, the kind of force with which you hit the hollow as you drop down.
There's lots and lots of gyroscopics going on there, and kind of G-forces. You know, you go off the top and you're dropping down. The thing you're worried about there is not running out of road and not losing the rear, because everything's dropping away. You lose grip.
Oh! Shaky Byrne makes a big mistake. He goes for the inside pass as he goes into Surtees, and he rattles across the top, and that surely cost him the double here, because we're on the 27th of 30 laps. We thought that Shaky was running cool. He'd had 1 or 2 moments, and suddenly he had a big moment, and that's allowed Alex Lowe to burn his way through as well, and Shaky's back to 3rd place.
He's not getting back from that. Look, here we go. Watch. You just missed how it started. He went up the inside. Ellison didn't see him coming. Went across the front, as was his kind of right to do that. Watch. Up the inside goes Shaky, and there's no way back, and he can't actually stop the bike and brake hard enough to get out of the way because he's on his side.
James, that was lucky, because look at that. We saw an identical thing happen at Phillip Island that it ended up with Carlos Checker knocked unconscious.
Exactly that, yeah. Different speed, though. I mean, that was into the hairpin. That's a fast corner, is that?
So 28th of 30 laps, and could it be that James Ellison's going to mark his debut with Milwaukee Yamaha back in Sean Muir's team, as because who he was with, of course, when he was doing the Hydrex Honda season, with a race victory. He leads the way on the penultimate lap of the 30. A moment of high drama here at Brands Hatch, and the reigning champion, who looked like he had everything. Well, James, we had seen him just beginning to kind of slide and lose a little bit of traction here and there. Perhaps he just suddenly felt, I need to get through now.
I just think that, you know, I think that Shane Byrne, a man with his experience, would have thought he'd have got through. It wasn't a lunge, it wasn't a desperate move. I think he just thought he could make it. Then he decided he couldn't, and couldn't get out of the way of the back wheel of Ellison's bike.
I just wonder, perhaps he'd been watching Philip Backlund, because that Swedish boy pulled that move really cleanly
3 or 4 times. Yeah, he did.
In the Superstock 1000 race. And
the thing is, to do it there, you've got to be considerably quicker. It's all right doing that with somebody who's slower at that point, but it's always risky, because the front wheel always will get taken down by a rear wheel. There's more weight on the rear.
Well, I reckon that Shaky's going to be relieved to land 16 points for 3rd place, because, of course, don't forget, James Ellison scored nothing in the first race today after that misfortune with his visor.
I'll tell you what, it could have been worse, could that? A lot worse for Shane Byrne, because he could have very well be on his way to blooming casualty at this point, I'll tell you.
So the leader then, and the prospective winner, would you believe it? It's got to be James Ellison.
He's going to like this.
When did he last win a race in British Superbikes? I can tell you, it was here at Brands Hatch, Indy, back in 2010. Well, it was the last time, last year he won was in 2010. He's done it again 3 years on. James Ellison, back on the top deck of the podium. 2nd place, Alex Lowe, Samsung Honda, his second of the day. An absolute adulation. There's little Sarah, his beautiful little Texan wife, being lifted off her feet by an exultant Sean Muir, who's enjoying the top deck of the podium once again. Yuichi Kiyanari, almost unnoticed, 11.5 seconds behind the leader, crosses the line in 4th. And then Josh Brooks. I've been waiting
to cross.
Yeah, Brooks crosses the line. Kirkham, Harris, Walker, Westmoreland in that order. Keith Farmer fights back in front of Robin Harms. PJ Jacobson in 12th. That was a terrific ride by Harris. He got back up into 7th place and split Kirkham and Walker.
It was actually.
Well done, Bob. Peter Hickman got seen to on the last lap by Farmer, Harms and Jacobson, ends up 13th. Josh Waters 14th, and a point for Matteo Baiocco. Congratulations.